Another deep dive. Today we're taking a look at the future of shopping.
Future of shopping.
Yeah, we're going inside Amazon's next-gen fulfillment center.
Okay.
Sarah Rhodes,
Uh-huh.
she's a VP on Amazon's global operations team,
Okay.
and she gave us a sneak peek inside their newest facility. It's in Shreveport, Louisiana,
Wow.
and it's huge.
How huge are we talking?
3 million square feet.
3 million.
That's the size of 55 football fields.
Okay, so no more cramped warehouses then.
No, definitely not. This is packed with some really impressive tech.
So what are we diving into today? Like, what are the big questions about this new facility?
Well, I think the first one is, what is it actually like inside? It's
Right.
this robot-powered facility.
Uh,
And that leads to the second question, which is, what does it mean for jobs when robots are doing so much of the work?
okay, yeah, that's a big one. We're always hearing about robots taking over jobs.
Yeah, right.
So what's the real story here?
Yeah. And then, of course, the other question that always comes up with Amazon is the sustainability angle.
Right. Are they making any progress on that front?
Yeah, so we'll talk about that, too, especially their use of those electric delivery vans.
Okay, so let's start with the robots.
Okay.
What kind of robots are we talking about here? Like, what are they actually doing in this facility?
Well, one of the most interesting ones is this robot called Proteus.
Proteus.
Yeah. Now imagine a robot that's not just like, a simple machine.
Okay.
It can move independently through the entire warehouse.
Really?
Yeah, it uses sensors to avoid obstacles.
That's pretty advanced.
Yeah, and it can even collaborate with human workers.
Collaborate. How does that work?
So they can help move heavy loads together.
Oh, so this is like a robotic teammate.
Right.
Okay. So what else?
Well, there are robotic arms that can move packages.
Okay.
These arms are so precise,
Uh-huh.
they can handle even the most delicate items without damaging them.
So that's where the efficiency comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Less damage, less waste.
Exactly.
And I imagine this kind of automation means fewer injuries for workers.
That's right. No more repetitive strain injuries from lifting heavy boxes all day.
Makes sense.
So it's a safety issue as well as an efficiency thing.
Right. Okay, but 3 million square feet is still a lot of space.
Mm-hmm.
It must still need a ton of workers.
It does. It employs 2,500 people.
Wow. Okay, so robots aren't replacing humans entirely then.
Not exactly. It's more about them working together.
Okay.
And actually about 30% of the jobs at this facility are more technical.
More technical how?
Well, you need people to maintain the robots. You
Right.
need software developers.
Uh-huh.
So it's a different kind of workforce.
So it's like a trade-off. Some jobs might be automated, but new ones are being created that require more skills.
Exactly.
Oh.
And Amazon is actually investing in training programs to help their employees learn these new skills.
That's really smart. So they're not just abandoning their workforce. They're helping them adapt to this new environment.
Exactly. They want their employees to be able to stay ahead of the curve.
That makes sense.
But, managing all these robots,
Yeah.
it's got to be really complex.
Right.
There's a delicate balance
Right.
between the automation
Hmm.
and human oversight.
Yeah.
Amazon still operates this facility with 2 shifts a day,
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Uh-huh.
So the robots might be working 24/7,
Okay.
but humans are still needed.
For what kinds of things?
Well, you need humans for quality control.
That makes sense.
You need people who can manage those unexpected situations
Right.
and then just overseeing the overall operation.
Right. So it's not just robots running the show.
Yeah,
There's still a need for human intelligence and decision-making.
exactly.
Okay, so is this just a test run for Amazon, or is this the model for the future?
Well, according to Sarah Rhodes,
Mm-hmm.
this facility in Shreveport is the blueprint for all their future sites.
Wow.
And they're even looking at retrofitting their existing warehouses with this technology.
So they're going all in on this robot-human hybrid model.
They are.
Okay, but how are they going to find enough workers who have these more technical skills?
Well, remember, we're talking about Amazon.
Right.
This is a company with over 750,000 employees in the U.S. alone.
True.
They're already a major player in the job market.
Yeah.
And to attract workers, they're offering what Sarah called fantastic pay and amazing benefits.
Okay, fantastic pay and amazing benefits. What does that actually mean?
Well, Sarah mentioned that even brand new employees get the same comprehensive health benefits
Uh-huh.
as someone like her who's been with the company for 14 years.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty unusual.
Yeah, it is.
So they're really trying to create an environment where people can build long-term careers.
Okay, so it sounds like they're putting a lot of emphasis on the people side of things,
They are.
even as they're investing in all this new technology.
Mhm.
But I'm curious about the environmental impact of all this.
Yeah.
Robots need energy.
They do.
Deliveries require fuel.
Mm-hmm.
So how is Amazon addressing those concerns?
Well, that's where their sustainability efforts come in,
Okay.
especially with their delivery fleet.
Right. They've been making a lot of noise about their electric delivery vans.
Yeah.
How many do they have on the road now?
They have 20,000 Rivian electric delivery vans on the road in the U.S.
20,000.
20,000.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, they're not messing around. And actually, Amazon has invested heavily in Rivian.
Rivian.
It's an electric vehicle manufacturer.
Okay.
And this really signals a long-term commitment.
So this isn't just a greenwashing PR stunt. They're actually putting their money where their mouth is.
Exactly.
But they still need drivers for those vans.
For now, fully autonomous delivery is still a few years off.
Okay.
But these electric vans are definitely a step in the right direction.
And I bet they create new job opportunities too.
They do.
It seems like with all this new technology, it's a constantly evolving landscape.
It is. There are new jobs, new skills, new challenges. This Shreveport facility really does feel like a glimpse into the future of retail.
It does. And it raises some interesting questions about how this model might be applied to other industries.
Yeah, so it's not just about Amazon. It's about how we work, how we consume, and how we think about technology.
Exactly. And we're just scratching the surface here.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit.
Yeah, let's dig deeper.
We've seen how Amazon's using this tech to transform its fulfillment centers, but what does this mean for the average person?
Right. The person who just wants to order something online.
Exactly. Like if I want to buy a pair of shoes, what does all this mean for me?
Well, on the surface, you might just notice faster delivery times. But the impact goes way beyond that.
Okay, we talked about the electric vans, but is there more to it than that?
Oh, yeah. Think about this. This combination of automation and human skills could lead to more personalized shopping experiences.
Personalized how?
Imagine getting recommendations
Uh-huh.
that are tailored to your past purchases,
Okay.
to your browsing habits,
That's interesting.
or even having your order packaged
Uh-huh.
in a way that reflects your preferences.
Oh, so like if I always want my shoes delivered in a certain type of box,
Exactly.
that's pretty cool. It's like the convenience of online shopping, but with a personal touch.
Yeah, exactly. It's like having your own personal shopper, but online.
Okay, but this technology could have implications beyond just individual consumers, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This has the potential to transform entire industries.
Like what?
Well, think about healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Robots could assist with surgeries,
Okay.
deliver medications,
Mm-hmm.
which would free up doctors and nurses
To do what?
to focus on patient care,
Right.
human interaction.
So it's not just about efficiency, it's about making things more human-centered.
Yeah, exactly. Even in fields that rely heavily on technology.
But what about those concerns that people have about robots taking over jobs?
Uh,
I mean, is there a real risk?
A real risk of what?
Yeah. That automation will lead to massive unemployment.
Yeah, that's a valid concern. It's one we need to talk about.
Okay.
But I think it's important to remember that tech has always disrupted the job market.
Okay.
Think about the switch from horses and buggies to cars,
Right.
or the shift from manual labor to factory jobs during the Industrial Revolution.
So you're saying that this is just another chapter?
In the ongoing evolution of work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And just like with those past transitions, this one will create new opportunities as it disrupts the old ways of doing things.
So how do we prepare for this shift?
I think the key is to be adaptable,
Uh-huh.
to be open to lifelong learning,
Okay.
and to develop the skills that this new economy will need.
And Amazon is investing in training for their employees.
Right.
But what about people who don't work for a company that's doing that?
Well, that's where education comes in.
Okay.
We need to invest in programs
Yeah.
that teach people the skills they need,
Okay.
skills for a tech-driven world.
Yep.
And I think we need policies
What kind of policies?
that support workers who might be displaced by automation,
Okay.
help them transition into new roles.
So this isn't just an individual problem to solve.
It's not. We all need to be involved.
Right.
Governments, educational institutions, businesses. We need to work together to ensure that everyone benefits from these changes.
And I think it's important to remember that this isn't just about the tech itself. It's about the values.
The value.
The values that we embed in the tech. We have to make choices about how we want tech to shape our society.
You're right. We have to be deliberate about the future we're creating. We need to be mindful of things like algorithmic bias, data privacy,
Right.
and the impact of all this on jobs and wages.
This conversation has given me a lot to think about.
Me too. It's a lot to process.
It's clear that Amazon's innovations are just the tip of the iceberg,
Yeah, they're at the forefront of a much bigger technological shift.
a shift that's going to impact all of us.
It is. And it's going to happen faster than we think.
Yeah.
So it's important to stay informed and engaged.
Okay, so we've established that Amazon is going all in on this blend of robots and humans.
Right.
But I'm curious about the ripple effects. Is this just an Amazon thing,
Right.
or is this the future of work for everyone?
I think what's really interesting is that Amazon is often a bellwether for broader trends.
Okay,
Like, think about how they pioneered online shopping.
right.
And now it's hard to imagine life without it.
Totally.
So what they're doing in their fulfillment centers could be a preview of what's coming to other industries.
So you're saying that in the future, we might all be working alongside robots?
It's definitely a possibility. And it's not just about warehouses.
Okay.
Think about healthcare.
Okay.
Robots could assist with surgeries
Uh-huh.
or deliver medications.
Okay.
And that would free up doctors and nurses.
To focus on patient care.
Exactly. Or manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
Robots could take over repetitive tasks on assembly lines,
Oh.
leaving human workers to focus on quality control and problem solving.
Okay. That makes sense. But if robots are doing all the heavy lifting
Uh-huh.
and the repetitive tasks,
Yeah.
what happens to the people who were doing those jobs?
Right.
I mean, are we all going to be out of work?
Yeah, it's a valid concern, and it's one that we need to address. But I think it's important to remember
Okay.
that technology has always disrupted the job market.
Okay.
Like, think about the switch from horse-drawn carriages
Uh-huh.
to automobiles,
Right.
or the shift from manual labor
Mm-hmm.
to factory work during the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
Those transformations led to job displacement,
Right.
but they also created whole new industries and job categories.
So you're saying that history shows us that tech advancements
Yeah,
ultimately lead to new opportunities.
exactly. The key is being ready for the shift and adapting.
Okay.
And that means embracing lifelong learning
Okay.
and developing the skills that are going to be in high demand.
So it's not about fearing the robots.
Right.
It's about figuring out how to work with them
Exactly.
and how to use them to our advantage.
You got it.
But how do we do that? Most people aren't robotics engineers.
True, but you don't need to be a robotics engineer to thrive in this new world of work.
Okay.
I think the most important thing is to focus on those skills that robots can't replicate,
Like what?
like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving,
Mm-hmm.
and emotional intelligence.
Okay. Those are all skills that we can develop over time, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not just about individual effort either.
Okay.
We need to rethink our education systems. We need to invest in training programs
Mm-hmm.
that equip people with the skills they'll need to succeed in this new world.
So it's a collective effort.
It is.
It's not just up to individuals to figure this out on their own.
Right.
We need governments,
Yes.
educational institutions, businesses all working together
Exactly.
to create a workforce that's ready for the future.
Well said. And we need to think about the ethical side of all this, too.
Okay.
As we become more reliant on AI,
Mm-hmm.
we need to make sure it's developed and used responsibly.
Responsibly.
Yeah, in a way that benefits everyone, not just a select few.
That's a really important point. It's easy to get excited about all this new tech,
It is.
but we can't forget about the potential downsides.
Right.
We need to have those tough conversations
About what?
about how to make sure AI is used ethically
Uh-huh.
and for the greater good.
Absolutely. Those conversations need to happen at every level, from government policy to individual choices.
Right. We need to be thinking about things like algorithmic bias,
Yes.
data privacy,
Mm-hmm.
the impact of AI on jobs and wages.
It's a lot to consider.
Yeah.
But I think the main takeaway is that we have agency here.
Okay.
The future isn't something that's just happening to us.
Okay.
It's something we're creating through the choices we make today.
Yeah, you're right. We have the power to shape the future of work.
We do.
And we have a responsibility to do it in a way that works for everyone.
Well said.
This has been an incredibly insightful conversation.
It has. It really has.
We've covered so much ground today.
We have.
From Amazon's robot-powered fulfillment center
Yeah.
to the broader implications of automation and the ethical considerations around AI.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
there's one more thing I want to ask you about.
Okay.
Amazon's electric delivery fleet.
Right. Those 20,000 vans.
Yeah, 20,000 electric vans on the road is impressive.
It is.
But I imagine there are challenges, too, in making that shift to an all-electric fleet.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the goal of reducing their carbon footprint is great,
Yeah.
but there are logistical hurdles to overcome.
Like what?
Well, think about the charging infrastructure.
Okay.
You need to be able to charge all those vans,
Right.
and that's a massive undertaking.
Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that. What other challenges are there?
Or range anxiety is a big one.
Range anxiety.
Yeah, electric vans don't have the same range
Mm-hmm.
as gas-powered vehicles.
Okay.
Not yet, at least.
Right.
So Amazon's going to need to really optimize its delivery routes
Okay.
and maybe even rethink its whole delivery model.
To accommodate those limitations.
Exactly.
So it's not as simple as just swapping out the old vans for new ones.
It's not. It requires a complete overhaul of their operations,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the cost.
Right. Electric vehicles are still more expensive
They are.
than gas-powered vehicles.
The upfront investment is significant.
So how can Amazon justify that?
Well, they're betting that they'll save money in the long run
On what?
on fuel and maintenance.
Okay.
And they're also hoping that government incentives
Mm-hmm.
and the declining cost of battery technology
Okay.
will make electric vehicles more affordable over time.
So it's a bit of a gamble.
It is. They're investing in a technology that's still developing,
Mm-hmm.
but there's more to it than just the bottom line.
Okay. What else is there?
Well, consumers are increasingly demanding sustainable practices.
Right.
And by electrifying their delivery fleet, Amazon's not just reducing their own environmental impact, they're aligning themselves with those customer expectations.
So it's good for the planet
Yeah,
and good for business.
potentially yes.
Yes.
But we should remember that there's no such thing as a perfect solution.
Okay.
I mean, electric vehicles still rely on electricity,
Right.
and that electricity has to come from somewhere.
And it's not always clean energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not a silver bullet, but it's a step in the right direction. And it shows that Amazon is taking sustainability seriously.
Okay, but what about the drivers? We talked about automation earlier
Yeah.
and its potential impact on jobs.
Great.
So will these electric vans eventually become driverless?
That's definitely the goal, at least for Amazon.
Okay.
They're putting a lot of resources into autonomous driving technology.
They are.
And their vision for the future is driverless delivery.
So those delivery driver jobs
Yeah,
might not be around forever.
that's a real possibility.
Mm.
But we're still a ways off from fully autonomous delivery.
Okay.
The technology isn't quite there yet,
Right.
and there are regulatory hurdles to clear.
So for now, there are still opportunities for people who want to drive those electric vans.
Exactly. And it's not just about driving either.
What else?
This transition to electric vehicles is going to create new jobs in other areas,
Like what?
like maintenance, charging infrastructure, software development.
Okay. So once again, we're seeing how technology creates new challenges and new opportunities,
That's right.
and we need to be ready to adapt.
Exactly. It's not about fearing the future.
Right.
It's about embracing it and shaping it to work for us.
You've put it perfectly. This has been a really insightful conversation.
It has been. It really has.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
A lot of ground.
From the inner workings of Amazon's robot-powered fulfillment center
Oh, wow.
to the implications of automation,
Yeah.
the challenges and opportunities of electric vehicles, it's all connected.
It is. And it's all part of this larger conversation about how technology is transforming our world.
It is.
And as we've discussed, it's not just about the tech itself.
No, it's not.
It's about how we use it,
Huh?
the values we embed in it,
Yes.
and the future we want to create.
That's the most important part.
But before we move on, I have one more question for you.
Okay, sure.
Okay, shoot. Before we move on to the outro, there's one more question I want to ask you.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the future of work and how robots and AI might change things.
Yeah.
But what about the human side of all this?
The human side.
Yeah. Like, is there a risk that we become so reliant on tech
Uh-huh.
that we lose some of those essential human skills?
Oh, that's a great question. And it's one that I think a lot of people are thinking about.
Yeah.
It's kind of a paradox, isn't it? We're building these amazing technologies to automate so many things.
Right.
But in doing that, are we maybe accidentally eroding the very skills?
That make us human.
Right. Like if robots are doing all the problem solving, all the critical thinking,
Yeah.
do we risk losing our own ability to think creatively and independently?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a possibility.
Mhm.
And I think that's why it's more important than ever
Okay.
to be intentional about how we cultivate those uniquely human skills.
Okay. So how do we do that?
Well, I think we need to make sure
Okay.
that we're not just passively consuming technology,
Okay.
but actively engaging with it, using it as a tool
Uh-huh.
to enhance our own capabilities,
Right.
not to replace them.
So it's not about rejecting technology.
It's not.
It's about using it in a way
Yeah.
That makes us better.
Exactly. It's about using technology to become more human.
More human. Okay.
Yeah, think about it. Robots might be able to process information faster than us,
Right.
but they can't replicate human intuition,
Okay.
empathy,
Mm-hmm.
creativity.
Mm.
And those are the things that are really essential
Yeah.
for innovation and problem solving.
So it's about finding that balance
It is.
where tech and human ingenuity work together.
I like that.
Yeah.
Tech and human ingenuity working together to create something really amazing.
Exactly. And it's about remembering that technology is just a tool.
That's right.
And we get to decide how we use it
We do.
and what kind of future we want to build.
We have the power to shape the future.
Well said. And that brings us back to the heart of this deep dive.
Okay.
You know, we started by talking about Amazon's fulfillment center, but we've really been talking about so much more than that.
We have.
We've been talking about the future of work,
Yeah.
the future of consumption,
Yeah.
really the future of humanity.
It's all connected.
It is. And as we wrap up,
Yeah.
we want to leave you with a final thought to ponder.
Okay.
How do you see these advancements
Yeah.
shaping your own life and career?
That's a good one.
What steps can you take today to prepare for the changes that are coming?
Those are great questions.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember
Yeah.
that you don't have to figure this out all on your own.
Right.
There are resources out there.
Okay.
There are communities you can connect with.
Uh-huh.
There are experts you can learn from.
So stay curious.
Yeah, stay curious.
Stay engaged.
Definitely.
Keep exploring.
That's the key.
And that concludes our deep dive into the future of Amazon fulfillment centers
Yes.
and what it all means for the future of work and technology.
It's been a fascinating conversation. Thanks for joining us.
And remember, the
Yeah.
future is not something that happens to us.
It's all
It's something we create. Okay, shoot. So we talked about Amazon's ambitions with this facility,
Yeah.
but I think what's really fascinating is that they're not just trying to improve their own operations.
Right.
It feels like they're shaping the future of retail.
I think so. And maybe even the future of work in general.
Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
all happening so fast.
I know. It's amazing to think that just a few years ago, the idea of robots working side by side with humans in a warehouse seemed like science fiction.
Yeah, it did.
And now it's becoming the norm.
It is. And it's not just about the robots themselves. It's
Right.
about this whole ecosystem that they're building. The
Mhm.
electric vans, the algorithms that manage inventory.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It's a really impressive operation.
It is. They're focused on efficiency, sustainability,
Mm-hmm.
and I think ultimately a better experience for everyone involved.
Right. Customers and employees.
Exactly. But let's step back for a second.
Okay.
Why should the average person care about all this?
Right. What does it mean for someone who's just trying to get their packages delivered?
Yeah, like why should we be paying attention to what's happening inside Amazon's warehouses?
Well, for one thing, I think Amazon is often a trendsetter.
Uh-huh.
What they're doing now could easily spread to other industries.
That's a good point. If you want to understand where the world is headed, it's worth paying attention to what Amazon is doing.
Yeah. And if you're thinking about your career, it's important to understand these trends.
Right. Because the skills that are in demand at Amazon are going to be valuable in lots of different fields.
Exactly. Whether you're a student choosing a major, someone thinking about a career change, or just someone who wants to stay ahead of the curve, this stuff is important.
Yeah, I think so. And it's not just about technical skills either.
What else is there?
It's about being able to adapt, solve problems, learn new things quickly.
So it's not about being afraid of the robots.
No, it's about embracing the possibilities.
Yeah, and about being proactive in shaping the future.
Well said. The future is not something that just happens to us. It's something we create.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive.
It does.
We hope you found this conversation insightful and thought-provoking.
You did.
And we hope it's given you a lot to think about as you navigate this rapidly changing world. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time.